Yes.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, November 14th, 2016. John Lavenia dialing in live from Salt Lake City, sitting in my car in the dark in a parking lot near City Hall so I can get a cell phone signal because Comcast is completely out in Salt Lake City. Like the whole outage going on here, I can't get it. And not only do I not have internet and haven't had internet for hours, I also have one bar of cellular signal on my cell phone. Thank you, AT&T. So I am sitting down here by City Hall where there's apparently a cell tower around here somewhere, so I can host this call sitting in my car in the dark in a police station parking lot. So I am so glad to be here with everybody tonight, despite my my conditions. Hey, we'll make do with what we have. We're entrepreneurs, right? That's what we do. We make do with what we have. I do want to welcome everyone who's joining us live, as well as people who are going to be hearing this on the recording. And I'm expecting a brilliant and exceptional call tonight because of the gentleman we've got coming out here is no stranger to training over the interwaves and all the stuff that we do each week here inside the Digital Altitude community. And before I bring him out, though, I will give you our usual disclaimers, especially for our brand new people, because I know we've got a lot of brand new people joining, and this may be your first ever Black Diamond call. So we never know. We never know what's going to happen on this call. Might be something really calm and mild and, very nice and instructive. Might be some people bouncing off the wall, screaming and yelling. I've been known to do that from time to time. But the point is on this call, you're going to be learning from people, not only myself, but a different co-host each week who has gotten to the top of their game, right? Hence the title Black Diamond, right? This is the top expert level stuff. So pretty much anything goes. Nothing's pre-planned or pre-scripted on this call. We're just going to tell you the way we see it. You're going to hear our opinion on stuff, how we work our businesses, how we run our lives, and see how these ideas apply into your life, right? Take what you like and leave the rest, right? Do what you like. This is all for you. And we will have a Q&A session at the end so you can interact with myself and the host, the co-host. And my usual disclaimer, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll. We just want to tell it the way it is. I've often said I'd rather help people succeed and maybe get a little uncomfortable than, just stay comfortable and, be where they're at before they met me, right? So we're change agents here. We get the job done. Mm-hmm. This is the call where we like to talk about how we get that job done. So without further ado, I did hear Ash. Hi, Ash. How are you?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because you were Skyping me saying that you didn't see me in a conference. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that was minutes and minutes ago, man. That was you're all good. Hey, guess who our host is, everybody? Can you guess? Oh, it's Ash Alley. You're right. Hey, Ash, before I bring you out here, everybody pretend you didn't hear that. Okay, I want to tell you about an entrepreneur guy who's a pretty cool guy, right? His name is Ash Alley. And when I got started here, I was invited to come in to Digital Altitude and participate in coaching some people, here that are going through the Aspire steps. I was like, yeah, that sounds really great. What a big operation you got going on here. Okay, I'll check that out. And hey, John, can you set up this, this community training call series? You've done this stuff for years. You know how to do all this, gathering people every day, every week on like Monday nights. You do these calls and can you bring that to Digital Altitude? And I said, you know what? Yes. The answer is yes. This is a big thing. There's a lot of purpose behind what we're doing here with Digital Altitude, and that purpose existed before I got here. And also, somebody existed before I got here named Ash Ali, and he was holding down the fort, hosting calls. I don't recall what those calls were titled. I think it was the Daily Aspire Daily. I think it was the Aspire Daily call. Yeah. And this guy Ash would come out and single-handedly, man, he was doing it.
They were called power-up calls.
Delivering the goods. He was out there and just taking care of business. And of course, this was before the whole DA live call platform was put in place. And I was listening to some of his stuff. I'm like, this guy is a student. He's a student of personal growth, and he's a student of personal growth as it relates to entrepreneurship. And my friends, that is our topic for this evening. Is entrepreneurship and the why behind entrepreneurship. Because look, let's face it, not everybody's an entrepreneur. That doesn't mean not everybody's got an ego. Certainly people can walk around and think they're hot stuff. But I'll tell you what, as long as I walked around thinking I was hot stuff while I was still working a job, answering to a boss or to a corporate agenda, I wasn't as hot as I could have been, right? And it got to the point for me where I had as some people know who've heard my story, I had a stress-induced health condition, landed me in the hospital. I was working nonstop, 80 hours a week. I was getting my pay cut 3 times a year. I was miserable. Now, that's me. Some people, hey, let's go work a job. Hey, please don't make me think. I just want to be told what to do. I'm going to do just enough to not get fired, right? Give me my paycheck. And, hey, after all, all my friends are broke too, right? And this life of concession that I wrote about at length in my first book, the life of concession, that just wasn't for me. And I would venture that since everyone who's listening to this is on this call right now and listening to this, that's not for you either. There are probably, arguably, more entertaining things that you can do than listen to John Lavenia and this guy Ash, who's about to come out here, talk about entrepreneurship and why we chose this path, or why perhaps it chose us. Why were we so damn dissatisfied with the status quo and being just a cog in the wheel of some outside entity, not having dominion over our time, our ability to earn, our lifestyle? Why? Why do some people concede to that? Why do a lot? In fact, most people concede to that. Well, we could certainly say, hey, look, the marketplace is tough. You might fail, right? It's rough. This is not a movie suit. This isn't a test run. This is for real, right? You're out there creating a life. You get one shot, okay? And some people just may not be up to the task. But there are those of us, all of us listening here on this line right now, who have strived for more. We choose to reach high above the mediocrity that most people just concede to I guess, enduring. Well, I could endure it no longer. And when I found the top-tier direct sales space that we obviously all play in here within Digital Altitude and beyond, right? Top-tier direct sales is alive and well. When I found that and I got serious about it and I learned what to do from people who were doing it, who had come before me, and you're going to learn a lot right now, from a guy like Ash, okay, and you'll learn each day on these calls. But when I became a part of this, really a part of it, right, not just around it, not I'll try, no, none of that, okay, but when I got into it and it got into me, my whole life changed. I haven't worked a job since. I've made millions of dollars as an entrepreneur because, thank goodness, I found people who knew the principles and how to apply them and were willing to teach me what to do, which is why it is now my honor to not only bring you these calls and to do some coaching here with Digital Altitude, but also to share the microphone with guys like this who have also, become quite adroit at delivering this message and empowering people to, reach high above mediocrity. In some cases, just start to get out of their own way, which is, I think, the first step that I had to do. So, Ash, tell us what is going on with my buddy Ash out of Chicago, Illinois.
I feel kind of weird because usually I'm up in the morning, have my coffee or my tea ready, and now it's evening and I'm having my organic coconut water. And
isn't that great?
Yeah, so it's kind of like I'm chilling at and the thing is, this case has a picture of a palm tree in the beach, of the beautiful ocean in the background, and it's just feels like the only thing I'm missing is my chair, but for the beach. But it makes, when I just drink one of these, in the evening, a lot of things associate when you start thinking about entrepreneurship. So let me get started here. Enough of this coconut water. So I'm just gonna chill out a little bit and kind of talk to you about my story a little bit and seeing where it comes. Because usually I just come in and I have things so structured when I do my morning calls. So today I'm just like gonna let it loose, and tell you like it is and give you my story and then talk about entrepreneurs, because really that's what we're all about. But I hope you take some notes and walk away with this thing, because you could easily be watching Monday Night Football right now and having more fun. But I want this thing to be a big benefit for you. I want this night to be something you can remember and saying, you know what, wow, I picked up something that's going to change. I know my life's going to be better, not necessarily from a financial standpoint, but in general. So I'm kind of going to give you my story. As you know, back I've been doing entrepreneurship, direct sales, online marketing. If I put all those categories together, which we're all part of, I'd say it's about 30 years. So and I graduated from high school, and I was Even when I was young, my first job was being a newspaper boy. And I'll tell you, and one thing I learned is that entrepreneurs, I noticed they get up early in the morning. So when I first got my job, this was way back when I was like 13 years old. I was a newspaper boy. And this is taking you back. And if I tell you the year that I started that, it'll give away my age, and you'll see that not really a young guy anymore. But yeah, this was back in the 70s. And coming home from school and then doing my homework, and then I knew that next morning I had to get up at 5 and have my paper routes delivered by 6. And it took about 40 minutes roughly to do my 43 papers. I remember to this day that it was 43 papers I delivered every morning. And I timed it, and I said, you know what, it's for every paper I delivered, it was like 1 minute per shot. So and how I got it to doing it so quickly was I chose a residential building. So they gave me a route. I said I want to be inside because I lived in Montreal, and you know how cold it is in December there. And the entrepreneur was saying, you know what, even though when they hired me, they said, listen, there's nobody that's going to supervise you, but you have to think this as if this is your own little business. And the fact of the matter, you'll know this is because the tips you'll get will tell you how good of a newspaper boy you'll be. So when I learned that, I said, and I wake up in the morning, I says, if the papers are not there on time, your tips are going to go down. And really didn't make much money. We didn't make much money just on delivering the number of newspapers. It was like a few cents a paper. I don't forget how much it was. But the tips was, I'd say, about more than half my income. And as you know, entrepreneurs, and I learned this a long time ago, like to get paid on production. In other words, they want to get paid on results. They don't want to get paid on salary, something that's structured, and no matter how hard or how light you work, you're always going to get paid so much. So from that day on, when I learned about delivering newspapers, I say, you know what, even though I'll give me as many routes as I can, but I started to focus on customer service. That was my first lesson about entrepreneurship, is customer service. So when I would go out every Saturday to collect money, because every week we do this, I had to look my best. Even 13, 14-year-old, you don't have a suit on, but you're a newspaper boy, and you knock on the doors and collect their money, and that was my first door-to-door. Not necessarily, and that's one thing you like about, you want to go to door-to-door and make 100% commission all the time on every one, is be a newspaper boy, because every door you knock that they open, they owe you money. You don't have to sell them anything because you've already done the work. And this is one of the things I learned about entrepreneurship, is that you do the work first, you put your salt in first, then you get paid. Whereas as an employee, or when I saw jobs out there, and I saw my father working in a job, and he was very conservative, God bless him, good man, but he would never, and he would say stoop when he said about sales, because I would never stoop to being a salesperson. And I said, geez, well, okay, and I started to think differently than my dad. So even though I loved him, still do, but he's passed away, but I found that my dad was focusing me into becoming an employee, and which I became an employee actually, but not necessarily an employee as we think of it, more as a direct sales employee, and that's a little bit different than somebody just working on salary, because you're still working on production. You're working on the number of units you can sell, just like the newspaper boy. So when I finished that was a couple of years. Then I did my college, and father said to go and get a degree so you can, obviously you hear the story, so you can get a good job. So I went down that road for a little bit, and there, obviously, I was starting to think, yeah, this paycheck deal sounds pretty good. So I became a security guard. And one thing I liked about security guard is because I could take my homework to work at night, from 5 to midnight, and the next morning get up in the morning, go to school. But from 5 to midnight, it wasn't really work. It was, you come in, you got your uniform on, and you're in an office building, obviously, you're a security guard, and you pull out my homework and start doing my homework and get paid for it. Everybody else in class, they go, where are you going to say, oh, I'm going to get paid for doing my homework now. Still have to do my job, do the rounds as a security guard. So I found that I was trading time for money. I said, no matter how good of my rounds I did to check the place out, make sure nobody's breaking in and whatever the security guard does, I still got paid the same, $8.62. And this is Canadian money, by the way, so it's like $2 US, as you know, by the time the conversions happen, as you know. But yeah, I mean, and that feeling of entrepreneurship started to disappear on me. And you know what the old saying is, you become part of what you're around, it start to grow into you. And I said, this is not too bad. Sit back, do my homework, collect my $300 a week, go to school, pay my rent. But I said, there's got to be something more to life than this. And once you taste the benefit of being an entrepreneur, you'll always come back to it. And so I started looking at ways to start a business, and even though I was going to college, you needed capital, of course, when you're like 18 years old and 17, 18 years old, just going to college, you don't have thousands of dollars to build a business. So I would say, what else can I do to produce income for myself? Because I needed to make money, because I just bought a car, a used car. My first car was actually $800. Yeah, you'd think that that's just the transmission. No, it was a car, actually. That had a hood and everything in it. So, and I said, so what I did is I started to deliver pizzas. And here I used my entrepreneurship again. I go, you know what? Customer service. If I deliver on time, smile, give service to my customers, I'd get a better tip. I noticed that. So I started to do a better job than the other delivery boys. And I said to the owner, I said, don't give me a big salary, okay? I just want to make sure you give me a route within this area, so that way I can do more deliveries instead of going all over the place and giving me a higher salary per hour. So what they did, they confined me to and this is, again, entrepreneurship. This is how you got to start thinking, is how can I maximize my time instead of trying to maximize my hourly income? Okay, so I said, give me a confined area so I'd have more deliveries per hour, okay, and I would work the normal 8-hour shift, but I would do more deliveries. And each delivery that you do, as you know, there's a higher propensity of you making more money, because you make, a certain amount of dollar out of each order. So, you would order a pizza, they'd order a pizza, I'd drive there and deliver it to them and rush back and go to the next one. And I would actually time my deliveries in a way where I would have, in those days we didn't have GPS, so it was, lucky us now how quickly it is to get from point A to point B. But we now planned in the car, and again, this is part of entrepreneurship, is planning your trip. I'd say, okay, I've got to go to this address first, this address second, this address third, rather than whoever ordered first. Because what would happen is, if I didn't do it that way, I would be all over the place, disorganized. So I planned the route in such a way, logistically, I was able to hit more people in a shorter amount of time. Now, they didn't teach me all of this stuff. They did not. They just said, hey, here's the address, go there. Delivery. So entrepreneur came again in when I was delivering pizzas. Got good food anyway, so thanks. So this is where I started to think, you know what, I got to figure out a way where I'm able to work on my own, control my schedule, and make some money. So I started associating with one of my good friends back then. He's still up in Canada, and he was a barber. And he said to me, he goes, Ash, we got to figure out a way where we don't have to be stuck in a job for the rest of our life, or, like in a factory situation. So we started doing real estate. And real estate was, in those days, was starting to move forward. So as audacious as I was, you would not believe this. Most people would never do this. So of all the times I was working, I saved up some money, about $10,000. And with that money, you would not believe what we did. He took his money. He had about $5,000-6,000. We moved from Montreal to Vancouver. That's what entrepreneurs do, and that's actually the second trip. Let me step back. We actually found a real estate opportunity in California. Now, we're in Montreal. I'm about 23 years old. He's 21. And we both are thinking, okay, so we went to this real estate seminar, and back in those days, you probably heard of those knocking down seminars, and I went there, and so did he, and we invested in a course, paid $500 for it, not knowing it would work, but again, took a gamble. And in those days, we called it a gamble, and today we call it a calculated risk. So we got hyped up. We got excited about this person in California. So we drove all the way from Montreal. Get this, we drove from Montreal to California on a spur's notice. We didn't plan. We just said, hey, there's an opportunity in California. Real estate is booming. You know, we got a little bit of cash. Let's go. Now, we wanted to control our costs. We said, you know, we don't need a car rental. We'll just drive. We just love to drive. So we drove it. Get this. We left Saturday morning and just, you know, packed our bags and went. Nothing planned. No GPS. Just went after it. We drove non-stop to California. Non-stop. When we got there, you're going to laugh, we didn't have time even to shave. So we got there, we got beards. We're looking for a hotel. It's middle of the night. So we walked into the one establishment, looked like a hotel, but it was, if I was to say this, people are going to laugh, it wasn't that much of it. He asked us, now usually they say, how many nights are you going to be staying? Well, get this, he says, how many hours would you like to have the room? So you know what I mean by that. At any rate, we moved on to a different hotel, as you can imagine. And we went into this little Hyundai Pony. They used to call them, there's a vehicle called a Pony back then. It was really a small little four-cylinder car. No air conditioning. So when we got there, the opportunity that we were going to be watching was in Marina del Rey. Now, for those of you who don't know Marina del Rey, it was built by Howard Hughes, a billionaire. Very lavish place. I mean, I think the lowest rent there was probably like $3,000 a month. In those days, I'm talking back in the 1980s. So we pulled up, and they had valet parking, and I didn't even know what valet parking meant back then. So we pulled up, and the gentleman grabbed our keys, and he parked our car. So you say, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we went upstairs to watch the opportunity, loved it, so we're going to invest money in real estate and other multi-level marketing stuff. And when we got downstairs and go back to our hotel to get a car, guess where our car was parked? It was parked at the janitor spot. Because every other car, any other vehicle was like a Rolls Royce. The lowest car that, I mean, in terms of value was probably a BMW. So you can understand that us driving into a little, with a little Hyundai Pony, they didn't have a spot for us except for the janitor spot. So that's where we were coming from. Why I'm saying this is because I still remember vividly that that each dollar that we made, even in real estate, was so difficult because I didn't have mentorship back then. I just had a guy, he'd give us the opportunity and we'd go to work. And so we came back to Montreal and tried real estate, and here's the problem. The word I use is try. We didn't commit ourselves, so we lost our money. Then we went out to Vancouver. We still had a little bit of money left, but we went out to Vancouver, same thing. Second time, failed again. Did you know that most successful entrepreneurs, on average, fail about, I read this in small business website, Small Business Administration, or SBA, that's what it's called. At any rate, it had said that 2.4 times that you fail in a business before you become really successful at it. So I said, hey, there's my 2 right there, and I got to find my 0.4. So kept at it, looked at other opportunities, and then I found that, you know what, one of the best ways to start making money, because I didn't have all my money was gone now, so I'd lost, like in those days, about $10,000, which today would be equivalent to like close to $50,000, I guess, depending on the inflation. And those were Canadian dollars, so those were like dear to me. So at any rate, so what I'm getting at is that as entrepreneur-driven, so his name was Steve, my partner. He went on his way. I found an opportunity in the States and working in direct sales. I said, you know, the next best thing to owning a business is to having working for direct sales where I'm able to control my schedule. I don't have to purchase the product. I can still just market it and go out and sell it. And that was in consulting services. So, and I always loved business. I said, I always love to analyze businesses, look at how the cash flow is structured, look how they analyze productivity, how to improve that, how to improve your operations in a business, your marketing. So I got into that. So I studied and took many courses on business management, then got hired to this company, and then for several years, that's what we did. So I managed to hire other salespeople to show them how to do direct sales, walk into businesses. And actually, this was cold call, walking in. At first, they didn't even give you leads or appointments. They said, okay, here's a territory, here's the product. Your job is to sell a business analysis of in a company that has around $1 million or more revenue. and we'll send an analyst out to that company, and they will analyze from head to toe. And their job was to do the fixing, which is the implementation, the second level. At any rate, so what we found is that when we walked into businesses, we were not really welcome, because as you know, when you do cold call and you're coming in unannounced, the first thing they're looking at you and saying, what is it that you're selling? You already have a huge barrier. And to diffuse that, it took a lot of ingenuity and a lot of creativity to do that. So we'd walk into a business and we'd get screened, as you know, the gatekeepers. So it's very difficult to sell on a cold call, especially up in Canada. Get this. And in Canada, where I was in Montreal, it was 90% French. Now, as you know, and the product we were marketing was from the U.S., which was in English. All the brochures, everything was done in English. So it was very different. The company wasn't smart enough at that time to have all of our sales paraphernalia and all the documents in French as well. So I was their spokesman. So I would walk in and talk to them in French, which I speak pretty decent now. And but the product, when I showed them a brochure, was in English. So you can see I was more like a translator. But that didn't stop me. I said, and I kept telling them, hey, you've got to have your materials in French. And they say, oh, we'll get to that. How corporations work. Sometimes they want to wait till the results happen before they invest in it. So at any rate, what happened is that we kept pushing, and we became one of the top regions for them in Canada as the highest brand. One of the ways we did it was because we didn't speak, the material wasn't in French. It was all in English. I spoke French, and then they got to learn to like me. So I found that, it doesn't really matter what the product is. It's the way they perceived me walking in the door, how I was focused on their interest. What's in it for them? So, and I learned about this radio station. It's called WFI, What's in it for me? WF, John, you can help me out here. I forget, what is it called there? What's in it for me? Anyway, those are the initials. WFIM. What's in it for me? So, and I found out that when you focus on other people's interest, what they're looking at, what they want, what their desires are, what their pain is, what they want to get out of life, when you focus on that and look at it from their perspective, it's very easy to expand on that, to expand on why they're looking for certain things. And this is where my first real sales, I'd say, sales job really came, when I finally figured out that, there you go, 92.6 WIIFM. Thanks, John. All right. So that's the station that I kept. What is in the client's, what is in the customer, what is in your prospect's best interest? That has to be your priority, because if you focus on anything else as a priority, you're gone. I mean, you're not going to be successful long term. You may be successful in short term, but some people say that is something that I look at, but it's not my priority. That has to be your priority long term. That's how you build a reputation. I figured that out. So became one of their top producers there in Canada. This was back in 1989. Then I found another company, one of the competitors, that were doing even better. And obviously, as when you're a top producer, you always look for better ways to make even more money. So they actually reached out to me, and then they said, hey, we want to talk to you. Come on down to Chicago. And that's when I flew down and looked at their arrangements, how they were set up and everything, and I liked it. And I saw that they were actually charging more money for their customers, but they would deliver more. So it wasn't cheap, their consulting service. It was actually about 30% more expensive. When I looked at it, I go, geez, it's already, and I know the customer would tell me, how does it cost so much? Why, I don't have that kind of money. But then when the owner explained it to me, and he said, Ash, it's not what the price of the product is. It's the result that we deliver for the client. And those words stuck to my head. It says, it's not what the price of the product is, it's what the results we deliver to the client. And if the results we deliver to the client outweighs it by at least threefold, if you think we can help the client by them investing in us by at least 3 times whatever they invest, so that in other words they get back $3 for every dollar they invest in us, then you're entitled to let them have it. If you don't think we can do that, then I would recommend you don't take that contract. with those words, I said, okay, I can see now who wouldn't want to invest 3-to-1 return on their money. But I had to know the product. So I got to learn about how the product works, how the arrangements were made, and that level of feeling of helping somebody when they see the results really, really stuck out. I said, satisfaction is critical. And then nowadays, it's not just loyalty now. Even. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you have to become even more loyal into helping other people. And I see this over the years, after all these years working in direct sales, and helping out small business owners, how to maximize their productivity, how to maximize their profits, how to improve their cash flow. You take a look at any conventional business out there. What happens is we figured out that most entrepreneurs that build a business, even an online business or even an offline business, I'll take an example of offline business. An entrepreneur is, let's say, working in a contracting business, construction. I could use that as an example. And this is what we used to figure out, that this is how most of our clients are created. They work for somebody else. They see that the owner is making a lot of money, and the employee that has the entrepreneur mindset is working so hard. They're working 80 hours a week, just as hard as the owner, but their paycheck is limited. The entrepreneur, the owner of that business, is making more money. So when they saw that, guess what they did? They pulled away, started their own business. They hired a series of employees to work for them, but guess what? They didn't have the knowledge of how to manage a business, how to manage cash flow, how to look at your spreadsheets and figuring out where your true costs are, where your inventory is, how to capitalize on productivity of your employees. They didn't know all of this stuff. So they would try to manage and run a company using their technical expertise. For example, electrical contractor. You take a look at electrical contractor. When we analyzed companies, we figured out that the entrepreneur was not really a businessman. They were employees working in a entrepreneur environment. And when we walk in, we'd say, you know what? You're wearing like 10 different hats. You're the owner, and just like when you come into this business, you might be a plumber, you might be a doctor. Whatever profession you're doing, you're shifting your hat into an entrepreneur, and this is what an entrepreneur looks for, the true entrepreneurs, like the Bill Gates of the world, and I might even say Donald Trump, which is a very popular name these days. They don't get involved in the technical aspects of the business. They get involved in the big picture. They're focusing on the top line, revenue. And number two, they're focusing on is profitability. Those are the two main critical variables that they look at in a business as an entrepreneur. You look at Warren Buffett. That's what he's looking for, revenue and profitability on his investments. The details, the small little details, the administration aspect of a business, he's delegating that to other people. And I look at Digital Altitude, it's structured in a similar way, where you have the coaches and the phone and the support and the phone salespeople we have and the coaches we have and all that. They're handling the operations and the administration side of the business. Us as entrepreneurs, we're focusing on the marketing side, driving revenue. We know the profitability is there. It's already structured. We don't have to worry about controlling our costs that much. We're focusing on and I said, this is what the ideal business should be like online, where you have a mix of people working like a conventional business, bricks and mortar business. And the second aspect of it, the second prong to it, I might say there's three prongs actually. The second prong to it is you have people calling your most important asset, which is your list, your people that are coming to your list. That's the most important asset. And the third element, I should say, that is critical to a business is building a community, events. And as you can probably know that the next event is coming up in Hawaii. I'm excited for that. I got my coconut water already here. Let me take a sip of that. And that's exciting when you have a company that you're working with, not for, you're working with. That's what an entrepreneur thinks. And they have, if you were in your business by yourself, all alone, you were on the internet, you had your product, let's say you made a book you were going to market, or a webinar you put together, or a course you made, and you're going to do it all by yourself. Think about it, how difficult that would be. You'd have to do all the copywriting, do all the website design, hire a website designer, pay them $2,000-$3,000 to set up your website. That's what it typically takes, by the way. Just one page, maybe not one page, but a complete website. So you'd probably need 2 or 3 websites because you want to, multiply and diversify yourself. The cost would be astronomical. So we have that here, all in one platform. And that's what makes this business so powerful. That is why we broke all records on the internet. That's what I see here. It's like $10 million a month, and we've barely been in business for 1 year. So when we have those 3 ingredients that I just mentioned in one place, this is why entrepreneurs see this, and they see that, hey, I'm in business for myself, but not by myself. So I'm not just marketing a product on the internet. That is why the investment has to be high to get in. I mean, not high. I would say actually it's pretty cheap, because if you compare the results that you get out of this, it's not that high. If you compare to, let's say, when I looked at this, I go, franchising is pretty expensive. And this is what this is, somewhat like a franchise. And I looked at it and I said, the franchise costs $250,000. My brother-in-law has a franchise up in Canada. It costs $250,000 to get in. Yoga Juice, it's called. And to this day, he still works full-time. I mean, maybe not as full-time as he used to, but still, he's still somewhat trading time for money, even though he owns an asset. So it's a little bit better than just a job, obviously. But what I'm getting at is that the cost, or I shouldn't say cost, I'd say the investment, when you look at this, is small compared to the benefit that you would gain when you start building with it. So when I saw this, and this is where I started to think that, hey, you know what, this is where people can come in, have a face and a voice to talk to, okay, not just a voice, but a face, because we actually connect in this business. And when a business and somebody connects with you like a partner rather than just as an associate, it's got to work, because they have their skin in the game. Guess what their skin is all about? It's time. And as entrepreneurs, when we jump into this thing, our skin in the game is money. But if you look at it, you know who really is the winner? The person who's investing the money. Here's why. Because time is something that will go away and never coming back. I cannot go to the clock and go backwards an hour, unless it was, daylight savings time, whatever. But it's gone. The last 40 minutes that we've been talking, that's going to be history. I cannot change that time. But if I was to give you $40, and then tomorrow I said, hey, can I have it back, and you give it back to me, I haven't lost anything, right? You borrowed, let's say if I borrowed $40 from somebody. But when you borrow time from somebody, you can't borrow it, because it's history. In fact, I'll give you an example. If they said to you that we'll give you $10 million, but you're going to get to live only for the next 30 days, would you do it? No. Your life's worth more than 10, even for 1 month. So they say, okay, we'll let you live for 6 months, but we'll give you $20 million. Would you do it? The answer is still no. So there you go. So what that's telling you is that time is much more expensive than money. So when you invest in a business, look at the time savings that a system will save you versus, so when I looked at that, entrepreneurs are always thinking of ways, if you've read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, when I first read that, I go, yeah, this is awesome. This guy's outsourcing everything. He's leveraging time. He's actually creating 2 hours with 1 hour. He's creating 2 hours. How? Because he's having 2 people work on driving revenue in his business. So that's what entrepreneurs, they look at ways where they can duplicate their efforts, not by themselves, but by other people. And here's a quote I'd like to read to you. Get around the right people. You will be the same person in 5 years from now, except for the people you meet and the books you read. Charlie Jones said that. Charlie Tremendous Jones, they used to call him. I don't know if he's still alive. But he's one of the best philosophers that ever came in. He talked about that when you start associating, when you start listening to stuff like this, when you start reading good stuff every day, your life, you start to change. People look at you and go, this guy's sharp, and you'll be thinking on your feet like this, and you'll come up with one-liners. And people, I think your financial and your, not just your financial, but your mental IQ will go up. And they go, man, this guy's sharp. where do I come up with all these one-line? It's because we read, and just like John and all the top people, they read a lot of good books. We're never short for words whenever we're in a surrounding of people. You notice some people can talk, but they just talk. They have no substance in their speech. That's how you get substance. You get to have this knowledge, and keep this in mind. It doesn't cost much to get a book or to get something. It's $4 or $5. In fact, today, guess what? Did you know that there's one card that most Americans and Canadians don't keep in their library? I mean, in their wallet. I just said the word. Is the library card. It's probably the most valuable credit card you can have. I call it a credit card because you borrow books and CDs and any kind of stuff you can get from the library, and it's free, and yet we don't carry it. Okay, so if there's one thing you're going to get out of this message is get yourself a library card. It's free, and start visiting the library. Go in and get books. Just pull them out, even if you don't read the whole book. Get it, keep it next to you. You'll see automatically you start reading some pages. And what's going to happen, your financial IQ is going to go up. Now, make sure you're getting good books, not something that will waste your time, leading a romance or a love story or something. Something that pertains to business, something that pertains to entrepreneurship, okay? Next time when we talk, I can give you a list of the books that I would recommend, but don't have much time for that. So, entrepreneurship. So just to kind of wrap things up, I hope you got something out of it. Entrepreneurs are people that they're a little bit weird, okay? And I've been known, people tell me that I try to go the other way where most people went one way, but I still evaluate what they're saying. They have some truth in that. Like when you go see a line, entrepreneurs might say, if I see a big line, I go the other way. Well, wait a minute. Is there a way to cut in that line? That's what I'm thinking, because maybe there's something good they're offering. So you always have to look at opportunities, and this shouldn't be the only opportunity you should be looking at. Not unless you're already making a lot of money, then you should be looking at ways where you can maximize your income from other ways on the internet. Okay, now talk to your coach about that first, by the way, if you're going through the coaches. So with that said, I think I covered pretty much what I know about entrepreneurs. So like I said, I didn't have anything structured. I just wanted to kind of talk to you about my story and why I'm here and what makes this business work so well. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is that when I was in Cancun last June, I noticed that Michael Force was up in the speech he did there, and one thing that really connected, that riveted in my mind, he said, he's here to make digital altitude for the next 20 years, okay? And then I privately talked to him about it too, and he said, that's true. I mean, he's looking at this in the next 20 years, we're not going anywhere, and that's why you should look at this business, that the people who come in, and then the people who come in down 20 years will still have a good opportunity. However, it'll be different, obviously. There's more products. I'm sure things will be changed and upgraded and all that. But look at it this way. You have a chance right now to build a huge business. And with the system, the strategies that he was talking about, what he's getting into and how he's going to, the guy's very talented. I mean, from a Marine to an entrepreneur, I mean, it's amazing because, and this is what he's looking at. So when I saw that, I said, oh, that's it. I'm the business is in my heart now. And so that's what I'm looking at here, is to build it to the next level and always go on bigger and bigger. So that's really all I wanted to talk about. I hope if there's if you want to shoot a question or something here, I'm willing to spend a few minutes, do Q&As. So Michael, I don't know, this is my first Black Diamond call, so fill me in what we're going to do.
You did very well, Ash. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed. Everybody on the chat room, let's hear it for Ash. Ash, the man. Good job, buddy. So look, I'm not on the usual app that I host these calls and control everything from. So I'm going to see if I can do this just with a web browser and see if we can get into Q&A mode, and so we can have some dialogue over here. Hold on just a second. All right, I think we're gonna do well here. So let's see. If you would like to address Ash directly, you can hit *6 on your phone if you're dialed in with a phone, and you can raise your hand, and then we'll see if we can bring you out here. And Ash, if this does not work, because of my technical limitations tonight, but I'm going to need you to do that on your on the app, because I see that you're on the app right now. So,
Or 6, yeah.
let's see. Do we have any callers in queue? See if this will work. So far, not so good. All right, so *6. Oh, wait, I do see a Frederick Young. Frederick, can you hear us?
Yes.
Hey, Frederick, you're live on the air.
Hi, Frederick.
Yeah. Hi.
Go ahead.
Nice to talk to you.
Good, good. What's your question?
Well, I'm a RISE member. I joined the digital altitude almost 2 months, more than 2 months ago, but I don't seem to be getting anywhere. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need some advice, and
Okay.
also I don't think the account is working the way that I want it to.
Okay. Your name is Fred?
Yeah.
Okay, Fred. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Delaware.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So you came in a couple of months ago, Rise, and you're not getting the success that you're looking for, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, could be a long conversation, but just in general, I mean, what have you done to try to make money from Rise?
I signed up for Get Response.
What have you done so far? Like, have you tried to market? Have you talked to your coaches? I mean, what have you done so far? Have you completed step 18?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Okay. And
But
did you?
the problem is my coach
Mhm.
expect me to get up to peak or ascend. I didn't do it, and
Okay. All
he
right.
just
Now,
gave me up.
right. And all as coaches we can do is recommend. Is like John
Yeah.
says, you know what?
Yeah.
Our goal is to help you position first and then drive traffic. However, if you're, and let me ask you a question. If it wasn't for the money, would you be at peak? Like if you had the funds available, would you be at peak right now?
Sure.
Okay. So really you're in agreement with your coach, because obviously your coach knows that if you can't find the money, you can't come up with it. Obviously, you're going to do what you can. But here's the thing I would look at. There's two directions you can take here. One is to try to build a business from Rise, which is to market on your own, and the other is explore all avenues in finding the money, because that's part of entrepreneurship. That's part of your job description, is to find capital. Entrepreneurs look for capital to invest to build a business. That's as equivalent as increasing sales. Finding capital is as equivalent as getting a sale at the level you're in. So what I would do is focus on both. And this is what I tell my people. Every income you're making from this business or any other income, whatever comes in from your job. What do you do for a living, by the way, right now?
What?
What do you do for a living? What's your?
Oh, I'm retired.
You're retired. Okay, so you can't live on love. There's got to be money coming into your bank account from somewhere, or you're living off your savings, right?
Yeah,
so
savings.
The money that's coming in right now from whatever it is, this is how I'm going to help you build this business quickly. Take 10% of your money that's coming in, move it off to the side, don't touch it, and keep it for building your business. And from that, let's say you save even $100 a month, okay? Take $50 of that, half of your savings, of the 10%, okay? And save it to build to buy Ascend and Peak one day. The other $50 you have, start figuring out how to market at that level, okay? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's say you're on retirement, or you're on welfare, whatever it is, and your money is coming in. It's very small, I know, but the thing is, you've got to find out how to raise capital, either through increasing your net profit, which is getting revenue coming in by producing sales, or number two is to find capital. Both means that you're putting money into your business. You see? So you will see, this is one of the things we teach you. That's part of the teaching at Rise. Okay? Hope that answers your question. That make sense?
Yeah. But another thing is, I'm not sure that the get response. The card is communicating with
Okay, those
the
are
digital
technical,
altitude. Yeah.
Fred, those are technical issues, and I would recommend you contact GetResponse. They have a great support service. I use GetResponse, and just call them and say, hey, is my systems working properly? Maybe there's some kinks, some technical stuff you have to fix. That's something that could be done by any support. Okay.
Okay.
But the main thing I'm trying to get you to understand is start on a piece of paper, look at your budget, figure out, and listen to one of my calls that I just did yesterday, actually. And if you listen to that call, I talk about how to start finding some money. Okay.
Okay.
I just had a person last week that purchased their Rise, and they came in March. I was one of the first coaches in this company, and they came in with me in March, and they just finally saved enough money to buy Rise full pay last week. That's called commitment. So what I'm getting at is, look at this business is that just because you don't have Rise and Peak right now, what are you doing to work towards it? Inch by inch, every single day, put down a goal that how much money you're going to save and allocate it to building your business. Because remember, getting Rise and Ascent is inventory. That's part of your product. It's like if you have a store, and in your store you have low-cost jewelry, and then somebody walks in your store and says, hey, I'd like to buy a $5,000 diamond ring, and you're only carrying $100 rings. They're going to say, okay, bye-bye. So you lost a business. So what you're doing every day is finding ways to have that higher level inventory in your store. Okay? All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. And who's our next caller? Looks like Juma Dango.
Yeah. How are you guys? Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, I joined Diesel Altitude less than a month ago. Yeah, and I'm already on a rise. And I started marketing with the just pre-ad, and I've been seeing leads already. And few from my group are already going through the steps. But my question is about the one member of mine. He booked the appointment with the coach, but the first appointment he didn't attend it because he didn't add the Skype name of the coach to his contact. We don't know if the coach called him but couldn't get hold of him or not. And then he rebooked again after he added the contact, the Skype contact of the coach to his Skype contact, but he didn't receive a call. And then he rebooked again the third time. He didn't receive a call. So at this point, I totally got confused. I said, what is happening? Like, what can we do? And we contacted support team, my sponsors contacted support team, but we haven't gotten a result yet. So what can we do in this situation?
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that the coach never got connected with the person that's doing the steps. Is that right?
Yeah, the first one, yeah, he wasn't connected because he wasn't added. His Skype name was not added on my member's Skype contact name. But and then after I told my member to add the Skype name of the course to his Skype contact list, then he booked. But again, after rebooking, the course didn't call. And again, he rebooked the third time. He didn't call. So until now.
Okay. Okay, but sir, here's the thing. I'm hearing your side of the story, and there could have been a misunderstanding, or maybe something happened in our system that didn't see the appointment, or he may have had an emergency. I have no idea.
Maybe, yeah.
Just be persistent in contacting them. Call them on their cell phone. I'm sure that's there.
Okay.
Contact support again. That's all you got to do is, and I'm sure they're going to get connected with you. I've had that happen one time where it was misconstrued. They might have booked it at a certain time zone that they thought they were in the Pacific, and actually they were in the East Coast, and there could have been a misunderstanding. So just try it again.
Yeah, with mine, everything went really smoothly. I didn't miss any call like that. And with the other teams, everything is going well. I have already 6 people who are going through the step. Everything is going well, but with this guy, yeah, that's what I.
Welcome to being an entrepreneur. Things like that will happen, and worse.
Okay, thanks.
You just gotta be persistent. That's one of the things I teach is being persistent, because every adversity you face has an equal opportunity to gain benefit from that. Okay, so just because they missed the appointment doesn't mean, oh, well, I guess this is not for me. You know, you have to look at it from a perspective that's part of the
Another question about ads. Like I've been receiving a lot of offers from other companies like Solo Ad, and I'm afraid like taking their offers. So right now I'm just using my pre-marketing strategies for now until I know really which paid ads are good for me, so I can set. So is it okay for me to take those online offers that people contact me?
Here's how I do it. I'm not going to answer whether you should or not because I'm not a traffic coach. But what I did, and I still do, is whenever I choose a solo ad vendor, I ask them a few questions, like how is their list, how fresh is this, for example. In fact, and then I'm sorry you didn't, but one of the speakers that we had a couple of weeks ago in Vegas, and they gave us a list of questions, what kind of questions you should ask a solo ad vendor. And here's a couple I'll give you right now, is that I always ask, how fresh is your list, and what type of people are on your list? Are there income opportunity seekers, or are they MLM seekers? Are there people who want to lose weight? So make sure you find out what type of people are on that list, okay?
Okay.
And always, and look at their testimonials. That's one of the best ways to find out. Check out their testimonials, okay?
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up. I've got, it's almost to the hour. So a couple of more questions, John. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we've got somebody else live on the line. I believe Alberta.
All right.
Sean from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's more of a statement versus a question.
Okay.
I'm brand new to this digital altitude. I'm so fired up. I'm just going to say this to all the people that aren't situated properly. If you have a 750 beacon score, there's no reason why you can't find the resources to help you build your business. And I know it's getting out of your comfort zone, but my business partner, we work together.
Yep.
He helped me with his credit, and I helped him with my entrepreneurial mindset. Do I know all the whys? My why is my driving force and the fuel in this jet to make it happen. We went from zero debt to $100,000+ in unsecured debt that we went and utilized other people's money with the bank to make this happen so we can get situated at peak.
Wow.
So I share this with people. When you get uncomfortable, and what good is having a credit score of 750+ if you're not going to use it and create wealth for your family?
Exactly. What's your name?
Sean Harvey from Edmonton, Alberta.
I'm from Canada too, so I know what you're saying up there. Awesome. And those are Canadian dollars, which is a little more expensive than the U.S., as you know.
It is, but here's the best part. You got to get a boatload of freaking points on your credit card, so it don't matter anyways. You can take that trip on travel. So it's when you get uncomfortable and you do what other people are not willing to do to get that debt between 3 or 4 or 5 different institutions or whatever you have available down in the United States, your life will never be the same. You'll never have to worry about money again.
Yeah. All right. What did you? Were you a business owner before you came here?
I was a financial advisor, actually, and I just left the offline world to come to the online world because they didn't want us to promote online for compliance reasons because they really want to control you and keep you locked up in a cage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just use my entrepreneurial from that to just say, you know what? If the why is big enough, who cares about the how or the what? It's the why is the most important thing. And like I said to my business partner, this is do or die.
Yep.
He says, what if? I said, I don't live my life on what if. My why is my driving force. I literally proved to him in a matter of 60 days so we can get situated at least peak. And we went and utilized other people's money with the bank.
Yep.
And then we're starting to drive traffic. I just started driving traffic yesterday, 2,000 clicks. We're going to go make a boatload of money and help a lot of people.
That's the attitude, Sean. Way to go. Well, there you have it, folks. You see that? That's the kind of the mentality you got to have in building a business like this, is to somewhat burn your bridges, I would say, because when you have that kind of mentality, there's no telling of how high you're going to go with this. So thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Awesome. Yeah, way to go. All right, who's next?
Let's see if we have one more, and if so, we will take whoever's next on the line. Is there anybody else there? Again, I can't see everything I can normally see on these calls.
Yeah, I'm George Burglar. I'm over here in Arizona.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
George Burglar.
Morris Burglar?
No, George.
George.
You know, George of
Oh,
the
George.
jungle, you know?
George of the Jungle.
Very good.
Yeah. I just want to know, you know, I mean, what's it cost for licensing, Michael Ford's business, you know, in order to get into it?
What does it cost to licensing the business, your question is?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well...
I just went in the rice, you know,
Okay.
with the money for rice, you know, and all I want to do is just substitute my income, okay? I'm an owner operator, okay? I have my own
Okay.
business too,
Okay.
And it's almost similar what you guys do, okay? I mean, I go to brokers give me a load, I tie it down on my trailer, and they give me the money, half of my money goes to my fuel, and when I deliver it, you know, I get the rest of the money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So, absolutely.
So-
So what step are you on, by the way?
Right now, my coach, I'm number 12, step
Okay.
12.
Okay.
But I just
So-
went through the rice, you know, and I don't want to sell the product, okay? I don't want to start another business myself, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I just
Mm-hmm.
the hardest part as an owner-operator is the driving.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
trying to get sales. I know that's the toughest part in any business.
Oh yeah, I know that, you know.
So-
But I mean, you know what he was saying, Michael Ford, you know. I was listening to his video. You can what do you say about promote the company, you know. What's it called?
So George, let me ask you this question, okay? So you're looking to, your question was that what does it cost to get licensed DA's products?
Yeah.
Okay, so you should talk to your coach about that. But if I had a
Yeah,
student,
he told me not to worry about it.
right? Because it depends on how much profit you want to make per sale. Okay, obviously,
Well,
if you're a business owner,
I don't want to sell anything. Okay.
no, I'm talking about profitability. Okay, I'm talking
Oh.
about economics. You remember on step 2?
Excuse me?
Okay, you remember on step 2 they talked about economics?
Yeah, yes, I do. I remember
Right.
that.
I'm talking about profitability. I'm not talking about you selling any product or anything. Okay, you don't have to be a salesman here. But first, you have to structure your business for profitability. That's
Right.
how you build any company. So you have to look at what's it going to cost to market. If it's going to
Right.
cost about $5,000 a month to market, and all of that
Right.
revenue that's going to come in is going to be paid, you know, just from rice sales, you might need to position yourself a little higher. You might need higher-end products to market, which are
Right.
ascendant peak. So I would recommend you look at to market the highest value product you can get, okay, which is ascendant peak and apex. Then
Right.
drive the revenue, because what's going to happen is a percentage of your clicks will upgrade to those levels whether you do or you don't.
Right.
So you have to look at that percentage. I don't know if your coach has gone through the business plan yet and show you the conversions. Okay,
No, yeah,
so make sure you ask your coach to go over the conversions with you, okay?
All right.
And that will tell you that how much money you should spend to build this business. So I'll let your coach answer that question, okay?
Okay. Well, you know,
All right, my friend.
I started
All right,
my
my friend.
business a long time ago too.
Yeah. So that's the best way to look at it. Look at the conversions first. You got to know your business first, okay? You got to know what the percentages are, what percentages get converted. Then based on that, you make a decision on what inventory you want in your business, okay?
All right, Ash, and with that, we're going to wrap it up. It's coming up on 5 minutes past the hour. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for delivering the goods tonight, and as well as taking a few questions here. Any closing comments as we wrap up this call, and then I drive back up the hill to see if my internet is turned on again yet?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it. Okay, my friend, drive safe. So I'll talk to you again next Monday.
Absolutely, everybody. Join us again, of course, every Monday, usually every Monday. Ash is out there on the wake-up calls. And, of course, join us on the wake-up call in the morning with Tatiana. I will be out there with her. We're going to have a great time. Ash, as always, thank you for your service, everything you do here with the Digital Altitude community. And we'll see everybody next time on the Black Diamond. Have a great night, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.